now on CHTV. We look back at a historic summer. Carmel softball players speak out about sports this year. And Matt Crum rates his top 5 waffle places in central Indiana. CHTV starts right now. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first edition of CHTV. My name is Griffin Hadley. We're glad to be back on the air in the midst of a historic global pandemic. The last few months of panic and worry weren't just about COVID-19 this summer, also saw a historic movement grow as millions joined the fight against social injustice. CHTV's Makenna Schaefer and Elise Tempe recapped this historic summer.
The world is in the midst of a global pandemic that left many people fighting for their lives. Now, we see people all over the world come together to fight for the equality of a certain group, and that is Black lives. On May 25th, 2020, Minneapolis police officers responded to a 911 call about a forgery in progress. Officers handcuff and arrest 46-year-old George Floyd. After police say he resisted arrest, they restrain him, holding a knee to his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Please, I can't breathe.
He dies at the scene. This, after Louisville police killed 26-year-old Breonna Taylor in her own home on March 13th while executing a no-knock search warrant.
911, Operator Harris, where's your emergency?
I don't know what's happening. Somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend. Help! Oh my God!
This,
no peace!
after a white woman falsely accuses a black man of threatening her in New York City's Central Park on May 25th after he asked her to put a leash on her dog.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
But this,
Don't shoot!
This was the breaking point for millions of Americans in 2020. Across the United States, there have been more than 4,700 demonstrations, or an average of 140 per day since the first protests began in Minneapolis on May 26th. Turnout has ranged from dozens to tens of thousands in about 2,500 small towns and large cities. Change is happening. Part of the street outside of the White House was named Black Lives Matter Plaza on June 5th. The Minneapolis City Council unanimously approved a proposal to eliminate the city's police department on June 7th in an effort to create a more holistic approach to public safety. Rallies and demonstrations are still taking place everywhere, specifically occupying Portland. But now, on Sunday, August 23rd, police in Wisconsin shot 29-year-old Jacob Blake at close range 7 times as he tried to enter an SUV. In the vehicle were his 3, 5, and 8-year-old sons. He is now paralyzed from the waist down. Black Lives Matter. Learn more at blacklivesmatter.com.
We hope everyone takes the opportunity to get involved. For more information on how you can be part of the change, visit blacklivesmatter.com. Thanks to Michaela and Elise for that moving piece. Switching gears, Carmel athletes had to sit on the bench last spring when COVID-19 suddenly canceled their spring seasons. I spoke with 2 members of the girls softball team about this past summer and the lasting effects of the coronavirus.
Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I have Caroline Roop and Audrey Hussein, 2 members of the Carmel High School softball team. And first, guys, let's look back towards last spring. Now, what was your guys' initial reaction when the spring sports season was taken away? Caroline, we'll start with you.
So I was pretty disappointed because at first I knew that we obviously weren't going to be able to play that year. And I was also close with a lot of seniors on the team last year. They were some of my really good friends. And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to play their last year with them and that I wouldn't be able to play with them again. So that was pretty disappointing.
With that being said, obviously the season was taken away and there was a lot of time to self-reflect. What did you guys learn about yourselves not having a season and having to work out on your own and kind of stay in shape individually as the pandemic took off in March and April?
You have to make every moment count, because I thought I would be able to spend my season with our seniors, but my season before that was the last time I got to play with them, so I'm glad that season was fun. But yeah, everything. Don't take anything for granted.
And that kind of leads us into my final point, which is, as we head into this school year, into the fall athletic season, can you guys describe your thoughts on having high school sports with the current circumstances? Caroline, I'll start with you.
So I think that obviously, at least contact sports, I think it's kind of difficult, like blur the lines between them, because football, it's gonna be tough. You're tackling people, you're so close to them.
Yeah.
And but then as of softball and stuff, I think you can stay a pretty good distance away. I really think that if everyone just takes precautions and we're all careful, then I think it can be a really great year.
For sure. And Audrey, how about you?
Obviously, I'd rather have a season, and I bet everyone feels that way, but safety first, and we have to keep our distance and wear masks. So I think there should be restrictions, but definitely would rather have a season.
Well said. Thank you guys both for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. This has been Griffin Hadley with CHTV.
Thanks, Griffin, for that inside look at how the team dealt with such a blow to their season. Hello, CHS. My name is Mark Bisbecos, and I will be one of your many sports anchors this year. Fall seasons are already at play. This week, there are a ton of sports happening, including football this Friday at home against Pike. But there are many more events happening, like boys soccer, girls soccer, boys tennis, and unified football. Go support your Hounds the best way you can. In other sports news, the NFL is also starting up this week. A lot of excitement as Phillip Rivers steps up to lead our Indianapolis Colts. The team has a lot of rookies, but also some seasoned veterans. We're looking forward to seeing what they can do. That's all I have for you today in sports. Let's send it back over to Griffin.
It is great news that our fall sports teams are back in action. Thanks, Mark. Changes are not only happening in sports, but right across the street from Carmel High School. CHTV's Elsa Bray and Izzy Heriter take a look at some big changes coming to the Carmel Clay Public Library.
Hello everyone, my name is Elsa Bray.
Hi, I'm Izzy Heriter.
And today we are here with the Carmel Clay Public Library's Communication Manager, Christy Walker, here to discuss some big changes and renovations coming to the public library. How are you today?
I'm great. So what aspects of the library will change?
The space that we have for teens is going to get much, much bigger when this project's finished. When we started talking about what wasn't working with our current building, one of the very first things we talked about was the fact that there just isn't enough space in our current building for all the teens who come out over here, hang out after school. So we'll really be expanding the space for teens once we reopen the building. There'll be more spaces to hang out, different kinds of spaces with different kinds of seating. There are going to be new study rooms right in the teen area. Something else that's coming is the fact that we're going to have more room for programs and events at the library. We will have a new, larger community room that can hold up to 400 people. So we'll be able to do bigger events than ever before. We'll have some other new meeting rooms throughout the building as well. So I think that looking into the future, you'll be able to come to the library one day and there will be a story time happening in the children's department and a gaming program happening in the teen department and a book discussion group happening somewhere else and a movie being shown in the big programming room and a painting workshop happening. We have a digital media lab down the street from the library now. It's part of the library, but a lot of people don't even know that it's there. Right now, it can only accommodate a handful of people. It's really tiny. But once that space moves into the new remodeled expanded library, it will be able to do a lot more. There will be an extra recording space. There will be space for video recording. There will be room for classes and workshops. And it's going to be on the north side of the building, which is the closest to the high school. That's also where we're moving our cafe space to. So that'll be really conveniently located for kids who want to come over here after school.
Where will the library be relocated to?
We're moving to a grocery store. In October, we'll start operating the library out of our temporary space in Merchant Square. It's what used to be the Marsh grocery store at about 116th at Keystone. So over the next 2 years, you'll still be able to come to a library to check things out, get assistance from library staff, even while that construction is happening. So we're anticipating that we'll be able to reopen the building in late 2022.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I think we learned a lot about what's going to be happening, and I think a lot of high school students will be excited for these new renovations.
No problem. I'm always glad to talk about the library.
Thank you, Elsa and Izzy, for that informative update. Next, our entertainment reporter, Matthew Crum, is here with a look at his top 5 places to get a delicious waffle during National Waffle Week.
Hello there, Greyhounds. My name is Matthew Crum, and today we have some exciting news for the holidays because this week is National Waffle Week. National Waffle Week was founded by Waffle House in 2001 and is celebrated the first full week of September. In honor of this lesser-known holiday, CHTV is ready to help you out with a list of the top 5 waffle places in central Indiana. Our first restaurant obviously has to be Waffle House, an absolute classic breakfast place. The nearest Waffle House to school would be in Lawrence, and even though locations are fairly spread out, I would recommend stopping if you're in the mood for a good breakfast with the best traditional waffle. Number 2 on our list is the original Pancake House, a good place to eat for any breakfast item and a good pecan waffle if you don't believe a few stricklers on Yelp. The nearest location is close by in Noblesville, and I'd recommend giving it a shot. Next up on our list is Metro Diner, with an old-fashioned style dish, fried chicken and waffles. Now, I'm aware that sounds a little unusual to some people, but when the place is packed, it's one of their better-selling items. Their closest location is in Castleton. Fourth on our list, we have Lincoln Square Pancake House, with amazing reviews on Yelp and a great original waffle. The chain has a lot of locations around town, so I recommend a search on Google Maps or your phone and finding the one closest to you personally. And last but not least on our top 5 list is a lesser-known chain called Wild Eggs, a good breakfast place where you can get a great tasting waffle and even add chopped up bacon or chocolate chips to the mix. The closest location to the school is just down the road right here on Main Street. In other entertainment news, the time to pre-order your 2020-2021 Pinnacle yearbook is now. A note went home last week via school messenger with all of the details on how to order. Order now before prices increase on September 11th, which is this Friday. You can see Ms. Burke in room C145 with any questions. And finally this week, we are all reminded of the horrific acts perpetrated on American soil 19 years ago. On September 11, 2001, when a group of terrorists hijacked multiple planes and sent them crashing into both New York World Trade Center towers, the Pentagon, and one spot in Pennsylvania, killing thousands. This Friday, you can pay your respects along with the Carmel Fire Department. They will be holding a remembrance ceremony from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. at Carmel Fire Department headquarters. Stay strong and carry on. Now back to Griffin.
Once again, that ceremony is on Friday from 8:30 to 9:30. Thanks, Matt. Last but not least, CHTV is taking on Mother Nature with our brand new weather segment. Let's send it out to Makenna Barr for a look at this weekend's weather.
Good morning, I'm Makenna Barr, and I'll be giving the weather forecast for this weekend. Starting this Friday at Carmel, we will have a high of 75 and a low 58 degrees. The sun will set right around 8 p.m., so if you're heading down to the football game, you will closely meet that low, so stay warm but also stay in the theme of blackout. If heading down to Columbus to catch the soccer games, you will have a high of 80 degrees, but when the sun sets around 8 p.m. as well, you will meet your low of 62 degrees. Moving to this Saturday, all sports and events taking place in Noblesville will have a high of 75 and a low 58 degrees. And all sports and events taking place in Zionsville, they will also have the high of 75 but with a low of 59 degrees. That's all for this week. Have a great weekend, Greyhounds.
Thanks, Makenna. That wraps up our show for us today. However, this is usually when we check out Carmel's cutest pets. Since this is our first show, we need you to send in photos of your furry friends. You can send pictures to carmeltv99@gmail.com or on Instagram at carmeltv. Thank you for tuning in to CHTV. Make sure you check out our social media pages to stay up to date on all things CHS. I am Griffin Hadley for CHTV. Have a great rest of your week, Carmel.